Hello everyone and welcome back. I did not know this was going to be something that I filmed, but that's why I leave room for these sorts of videos. Just filling in random things. No, but today I'm going to be talking about deep watering. Well, deep versus shallow watering. The benefits that could happen from both, but also how to do each one and which one might be best for you. So here in Central Virginia, it is constantly getting in that 85 to 90 range every single day. Next week's going to be all in the 90s, which can be a struggle, let me tell you. Your garden will struggle during the day. But how I and many other Southerners combat this is we deep water. Now, there are two different ways to watering. As I said earlier, there is deep watering and shallow watering. Shallow watering is just watering for a little bit, watering the same space more than likely every single day. Now, because it gets so hot and humidity is a real thing, farther south than I am, but we do get a lot of humidity, especially when it rains, obviously. But what we will do, what I do, importantly, and what a lot of Southerners will do, it is deep water their garden beds. Deep watering instead of that real shallow watering of just watering for a little bit on each garden bed. You will sit there, and as I'm doing here, you will water deeply. You will let everything completely soak. This is when you need to make sure that you have good drainage. You don't want to drown anything. Sorry, there's a bunch of air in this line right now. You just want everything to be nice and draining. So, that will look different with everything that you are doing. I have multiple different gardening methods right now. I have the kiddie pools, I have the buckets, I have totes, I have raised beds, and I have, I'm sure there's something else. But yeah, let me pause you guys and water this. So with deep watering, it can be a struggle. It can be a struggle figuring out what needs to be deep watered and what can be and all of that. My general rule, this is not proven by anything except for me, my general rule is to deep water anything that has a lot of soil. That could be large kiddie pools that I have filled, like this potato pool that I'm doing right now, or my raised beds. Your smaller containers, like your small kiddie pools or anything that doesn't have as much soil, or even including your buckets, I would say it's a good idea to water those every single day, because those are going to dry out really quickly. Even some of the bigger pools you could water every single day and be okay with that. Now, with that being said, you will more than likely not want to just shallow water them. You will want to probably deep water those as well. So just let the water pool up and then do that 2 or 3 times. That's what I do. And it works fairly well for me. Of course, with any system, there are always some flaws, and that's okay. The 5-gallon buckets, you'll want to water those. Obviously, anything that is getting incredibly hot during the day or in direct sunlight or anything like that, you will want to make sure that they are watered every single day. Any container, really. Raised beds are mainly the exception because you could deep water those and the roots will have to go all the way down to the bottom to get the water, which that supports deeper root growth, instead of doing the shallow watering, which really only gets the water up near the surface. So there are some drawbacks, but there are also a bunch of benefits to doing your soil this way and doing everything with a deep watering system. I will show you guys this. Don't want to show too much because I have a garden tour coming up soon. But this small kiddie pool needs to be watered at least once every 2 days, I'll say. And I just really let the water sit there and pool, and it does drain through because I have drainage in this. And I know I do because I did them myself. So I'll do that every 2 days. But I really just monitor the soil. That is a lot of what you're doing, is monitoring the soil. Now, on something like these other raised beds that I have, those are connected right into the ground. I did not put fabric down, I did not put anything down to stop them from going right into the ground or to stop the weeds from coming up. But, sorry, neighbors are being crazy. But those plants, more importantly, can tap right into the soil. So they're not going to need as much water as a raised bed. Now, am I still going to give them the water that they need? Oh, absolutely. I'm going to give them enough water. But I do want to encourage deep root systems. I want to encourage a strong, healthy root system, because if you don't have a strong and healthy root system, then your plant's not going to be able to support itself and all of the nutrients that it needs to do to support your plants and your fruit and all of those things. So there are benefits to each. Shallow watering, where you get a lot of rain, might be best, or if you get rain in good intervals. Virginia is kind of hit or miss with the whole getting rain situation. We have not had a lot of rain. We get rain, it was every week, and now it's been like every 2 weeks that we're getting like a good ground soaking rain. And sorry, I'm watering cabbage. But we have not been getting that very often now. So I have to water. Now, I could have gone entirely off of just the watering, or the ground, the rain. Jeez, that was a lot to get out. I could go entirely off of the rain. My garden would die. Quite simple. My garden and many others would die because it gets too hot here. So deep watering is probably the method for you. If you are in a hot place that gets very little water, or if you just don't have a lot of time to come out and water every single day. And that can be a big factor that plays into a lot of people's decision to deep water their beds. Now, I know with me, when I am deep watering, and how I'll classify deep watering, sometimes is just coming out here twice, one at night and one in the morning, or one in the evening and one at night, and watering my beds thoroughly both times. That way I can ensure that they're getting what they need. I mainly do that for my tomato beds. And the reason for my tomato beds is because I want them to have that strong root system, because they will get over 7 foot tall easily. And I want them to be able to handle that, be able to handle everything that they can handle. Now, I do have seeds here right now, so I am going to be watering every day, but I'll do a shallow watering for that. And that is another point. If you have seeds in the ground, you might want to shallow water, because deep watering will displace them and things like that. So I will water the center of my beds for my tomatoes really, really heavily. And in the back half, I will water them, or on the front half where the seeds are, I will water that more lightly. So then the adult tomato plants, the grown ones, can tap into the center and move their roots over that way. And it can really help the overall strength of the tomato plant by encouraging those roots to go a little bit further, a little bit deeper, just seeking out that water which they so desperately need. Now, I will give a little forewarning for tomatoes, and I will be going into this in a tomato guide later on, but I thought this would be a good point to just mention this. Don't wet your leaves. On a bunch of things, they don't like getting wet. It can encourage funguses and things like that, and you don't want that in your garden. So what you can do to help with that is to water at ground level. Now for some things that's not obtainable, for some people that's not obtainable. It would just be too much to do that. And I understand that, and sometimes it's easier just to come out and do that and things like that. I would encourage you not to, but sometimes that works for some people and sometimes it doesn't. It also just depends on what you're doing. Are you hard pruning? Are they getting enough airflow? And things like that. I avoid getting my tomato leaves wet, even though I hard prune those. They are pruned like basically to stumps, but I get so many tomatoes, and my plants are healthy all year long, from April to like the beginning of November. And that is important for me. I want healthy plants. I don't want something that's going to be diseased to be messing up the garden or a potential harvest that I'll be getting. So all in all, I hope this video is helpful to somebody. If you have any questions about deep watering, you can message me. I will be more than happy to help answer your questions. There's always something to learn in the garden. Deep watering is one of those things where there are different ways to look at it. There are different ways to do it. And there is no wrong way to do it. Some people run drip irrigation and do that. That's a good way to water your garden as well. Some people do the Oyas, which are just clay pots in the ground which you fill with water, and the roots will tap into that. And so many other things can be done. So I encourage you to look at different options. If you're having struggle getting out there with a water hose and just getting the stuff done that needs to be done, I really encourage you to try different options, because you can get your systems a little bit better, and your garden doesn't have to be incredibly high maintenance. Try to automate your systems where you can, and trust me, it will save a lot of time. So yeah, I water with just a water hose because that is what works for me, and I will come through in deep water and my plants have been fine. And I've been gardening for 4 years, so I'm not like an expert, but I'm pretty good at it. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in another one. Bye y'all.